from the high desert and the great American Southwest. I bid you all good evening or good morning, wherever you may be across this great land of ours and beyond. From the western side out there, the islands, the Tahitian and Hawaiian island chains, and a few others. Eastward to the Caribbean and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Good morning there in St. Thomas, and south into South America, north all the way to the pole, and worldwide on the internet. Thank you, broadcast.com. Soon to be providing streaming video of the program. That's in the works right now, folks. Intel also having a part in that, and we'll keep you up to date as it approaches. Now, in the next hour, we're going to be speaking again with a couple of very controversial characters, Dr. Jonathan Reed and Robert Wraith. And we've got a little more for you tonight. We're going to go over the basic story one more time, allow you to ask questions, but guess what I did? I went back and rescanned the photographs at higher resolution. Photographs of the obelisk, photographs of the alien creature. We will also have some audio for you tonight from the videotape that was provided. This really is the appropriate bumper music for what we're about to do. Robert Wraith, when he wanted to get my attention, sent me a fax, and in bold at the top of the fax it said, "Hey Art, want to take a ride?" Knowing my affinity for that line. And that's how this odyssey that you're about to hear about began. The incredible encounter in the woods in Washington between Dr. Jonathan Reed and an alien creature. Now, let me tell you what I've done. You're going to hear new things tonight. I have rescanned the photographs in addition to adding a new photograph from a different angle farther away of the obelisk. The new scans are much higher resolution. If you want to see them, this is what you're going to be hearing about tonight in photography on the web. You go to my website right now at www.artbell.com, and there you will see the new scans, much larger, much greater detail. That was a request, so I did that and got them off to, as Richard would say, Scotty, my webmaster, Keith Rowland, and they're up there for your perusal at the moment. So we're going to be speaking with Robert Wraith and Dr. Jonathan Reed once again in a moment by popular demand. All right, well, here's how it began. Robert Wraith sent me the fax I described a little while ago, describing an alien encounter that a Dr. Jonathan Reed had in Washington now a couple of years ago. The most astounding story you've ever heard. It is one of the most interesting alien encounter stories in years and years, and we have significant amounts of documentary evidence in the form of Kodak 35mm photographs. I have those personally. I have scanned them now in high resolution. They're on the website. Believe me, you don't want to miss those. You don't want to miss those. And I also have a videotape from which I've taken a little bit of audio, not of the alien scream. I'm going to have the doctor cue that one up again. I only had a limited amount of time today. But I'm going to have that audio on tonight. You have not yet heard that. You can actually hear the doctor running through the forest. But we're going to back up a little bit and sort of tell the story in miniature again. And then tonight we've got more time, luxury of time on radio, and we're going to let these gentlemen answer questions from some of you. You'll see pictured on the web the creature that was killed by the doctor, and you will see also the what's called the obelisk. And we may talk more about an obelisk tonight. We may even open an obelisk line. But what I want to do right away is tell the story, at least in brief again. Robert, you were contacted by Dr. Reed. Why?
Dr. Reed needed somebody to chronicle this. The chief reason I was brought on board was to document and write the story along with Dr. Reed.
Are you a writer?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, in other words, Doctor, you wanted to finally get a chronology, a documentation of all of this down.
Correct.
All right. Well, then that makes absolute sense, and that story is being written. Robert, you're how far through it now?
We're just about completely done with the book, as a matter of fact.
Almost done, huh? That's a big job, I know. All right. Dr. Reed, let us begin. Set the stage. When was this exactly?
It took place in mid-October of 1996, in Washington State, in the Cascade Mountain Range, about 60 miles east of Seattle.
Okay.
I was hiking with my dog, a day hike, and I had a golden retriever, Susie, and we just decided to take the day off and, go for a beautiful hike. We have wonderful mountains and great places to take your dog.
I have owned several Goldens. They're wonderful, sweet, loving, loyal dogs.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, after walking for about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes from where I had left my car, my dog started to take off, which she did occasionally, either chasing a deer or raccoon or something. And I didn't think too much of that until I started to hear her barking. And her bark got continually louder and more like she was in danger or had treed an animal or something like that. She was out of sight. She was probably maybe 300 feet or so in front of me. And it was an uphill trail, quite heavy brush. And I lost total sight of her, but I was concerned after hearing the barking get more severe. So I set my pack down and I thought, maybe it could be a cat or a bear, because we do have bear in the area. And I thought, well, maybe I'll pick up a branch and, see if I can untangle whatever this is. And so I started to come up around the ridge, and as I came across the ridge, I witnessed my dog grabbing onto the arm of this creature. I didn't know what it was at the time. I was totally blown away, but I could see that the dog not only had a hold of this thing, but this thing had a hold of my dog. And within a matter of seconds, it was literally tearing my dog apart.
They were in mortal combat.
Absolutely.
And, Robert, you said that last time we were on, and I want to clarify this, that the dog was somehow turned in on itself, or how did you describe that?
After the alien had released a fleshy pseudopod on the dog and then retracted it, the dog was bleeding. A spot opened up on the dog, and the entire dog started to flow like water down a drain right into that hole. So the dog was just sucked into itself, leaving nothing more than a very fine powdery substance on the ground.
Almost like the hide and the skin was being torn right off of the bone.
Oh, my God. Horrible, horrible thing to see occurring to your dog. Had you, at that moment, as you were watching that scene, did you then see the obelisk hovering in the air, or did you only see that later?
I only saw that later. It was probably 45 minutes to an hour later after this other situation had taken place.
Okay. At this point, you're aware your dog is dying or dead.
Yes.
You've got a branch of some kind in your hand?
Yeah, I had picked up a branch that was alongside the road about the size of a baseball bat.
So, here's a part I want to ask you about. You obviously advanced toward and attacked, hit this alien over the head.
Yes.
Did you do that sort of without thinking, or, I mean, what went through your mind? Here was your dog being killed in a horrible way, and you were going to approach this thing that was doing that.
This total event took place in maybe 15 seconds, which seems quick in one sense, but it seemed like an eternity in another. The last thing that I really consciously remember was yelling at Susie to let go, because I was under the impression that she was grabbing this creature as I was watching it also grab her. The last thing that I said was, "Susie, let go." And there was nothing. I mean, there was nothing but this fury of this shaking, pulsating being. At that moment, I think I just became emotionally unconscious of what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I leaped forward and swung this makeshift bat and hit it on the side of the head.
The adrenaline had taken place. I mean, his adrenaline had shot through the roof, and it pretty much took over. Just his instincts took completely over at that point.
Not everybody, unfortunately, yet has the web, and they can't go see the photographs. They are going to be in my newsletter, by the way. But short of that, this is the theater of the mind here on radio, so we're going to have to have you explain, if you can, Doctor, what this creature that killed your dog looks like.
Well, this entity was approximately 4.5 feet tall. I later measured it at 53 inches exactly. It was very small in dimension, childlike, except for its head. Its head seemed a little out of proportion to the small body size. When I say childlike, I mean approximately the proportion of maybe a 5 or 6 year old child. Maybe the appendages, the arms and legs, a little bit longer, but very thin torso. It was completely dark clothed in a type of tight-fitting, almost spandex-looking material that the gloves or the hands, the arms, the torso, the body, the legs, and the feet were completely enwrapped in one thing.
Wow, how strange. And that is in the photographs. A lot of people have asked about that black, whatever it is, the alien appears to be wearing. And anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves because that was during the examination. We would describe that more, I think, in the examination. Anyway, you whacked this thing over the head.
Yes.
Did you come running up to it and just whack it suddenly? I mean, a fast...
I literally leaped forward to hit at it. And in fact, I'm surprised I even hit it. I'm not an athlete, but I weigh about 190 pounds, and I'm 5'10", so I had a pretty good size difference on this thing.
All right, and I asked you this the last time, and I'm going to ask again. It takes a fair amount to crush a human skull. I don't know the power that you swung with, whether it was like you were swinging a baseball bat or how you did it, what you were intending at the time, but did the skull crush in the obvious damage shown in the photographs more easily, in your opinion, than a human skull would have?
Well, being that I've never crushed a human skull, that's very difficult
it's a very good point.
Identify.
Very good point.
But I know I swung as hard as I could. There was no holding back. And the branch was in proportion to a good-sized baseball bat. So in my feeling, it was relatively easy as far as, the tension against the branch that I could feel. But like I say, this happened in such a fast moment of fury.
But it was a serious blow. In other words, it wasn't like cracking an eggshell. It took a serious blow to do it.
Oh, I knocked the being down about 4 feet back.